There's something strangely fascinating about people who hold nothing back. No crumpled notes at the bottom of the drawer, no faded concert t-shirts, no dusty old photos. While most of us fill boxes with objects that may one day be useful, they live with an almost radical lightness, as if the past were a burden that they can and must leave behind. But what looks like detachment can be much more than a simple preference for minimalism. Behind this choice, there is often a complex relationship with memory, pain, and even identity itself. It's not that they don't value experiences. On the contrary, many of them live with an intensity that makes the rest of us seem distracted. What changes is what they do with these experiences after they pass. While some transform moments into objects, a movie ticket, a travel gift, a love letter, these people prefer to keep them in another way, on their skin, in their gestures, in the stories they tell without needing proof. For them, memories do not need physical support to exist. And, in a way, this makes them freer. But also more vulnerable. Just imagine, what happens when all you have are memories, with nothing to anchor them in the concrete world? There's a courage to that, no doubt. A confidence that the essential is not lost, even without an object to remember it. But there is also a risk. Because memories are fragile. They distort over time, blend into each other, and sometimes, most painfully, they simply disappear. Those who don't keep anything are, in a way, betting that what mattered one day will remain alive only in their own mind. And this can be both a leap of faith and a defense mechanism. Maybe they learned, at some point, that holding on too much hurts. That certain objects carry not only the memory of what was good, but also the weight of what was lost. A letter from a love that has ended, a toy from a difficult childhood, a gift from someone who has passed away. For some people, these items are not portals to the past, but rather painful reminders that time does not come back. And getting rid of them is not detachment, it is self-protection. It's saying, I'm only going to take with me what's good for me. Leave the rest behind. Another possibility is that these people have a different relationship with time. While many of us try to freeze moments as if, by keeping an object, we could also keep the emotion it represented, they understand that life is made of flow. For them, the value is not in preserving, but in living so intensely that the experience itself is enough. You don't need a plane ticket to remember an incredible trip. The journey is already in them, in the laughs they had, in the people they met, in the landscapes they saw. The object, in this case, would almost be redundant. But there is also a darker side to this choice. Sometimes, keeping nothing back is a way of denying your own story. As if, by getting rid of traces of the past, a person can erase parts of themselves that they prefer to forget. It could be the fear of facing who you once were, or the shame of certain memories, or even the feeling that, if there is no proof, none of that suffering really existed. It's as if they were saying, if it's not here, it doesn't need to define me. And, in a way, it's a way of constantly reinventing yourself, without strings attached. The most interesting thing is that, often, these people are not cold or indifferent. On the contrary, they can be the most sentimental of all, precisely because they chose to keep everything inside themselves. You don't need a photo album to cry when remembering someone. You don't need an object to feel longing. The emotion is there, intact, but private. And this makes them, at the same time, stronger and lonelier. Because, deep down, not keeping anything is also a way of trusting only yourself. It is to say, my memories are. It's a declaration of emotional independence. But it's also a subtle isolation. After all, when we share objects, we share parts of ourselves. A photo shown to a friend is not just an image, it's an invitation to enter a piece of our history. Those who don't keep anything, often keep themselves. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson they teach us, that the past doesn't need boxes to exist. That what really matters is not the things we accumulate, but the way we let experiences shape us. That, in the end, the most powerful memory is not the one we can touch, but the one we carry with us, even without proof. If you are one of these people, no, you are not careless or too detached. You just understand that some things are too big to fit in drawers. And that, sometimes, the best way to honor the past is to not tie it to anything, not even nostalgia. Now tell me, do you keep everything or do you prefer to live without accumulating? What, for you, is impossible to throw away. Leave it here in the comments. And if this text made sense to you, share it with anyone who also thinks like this. Until the next reflection. The weight of things we don't keep. There is a subtle difference between not saving and not needing. Those who don't accumulate objects often carry something denser, pure memory, without filters. It's not that they haven't passed, it's that he doesn't need physical support to exist. A yellowed photo in the drawer is a reminder. A story told only with words is a recreation. And recreating is sometimes more powerful than reliving. Think about the people who, after a loss, donate all of their loved ones' clothes in a matter of days. For many, it seems like precipitation. For them, it is liberation. It's not that they don't miss it, it's because they understand that pain doesn't fit into boxes. The smell of the shirt, the shape of the shoes, these things are borrowings from memory, not the memory itself. And when mourning turns into a silent presence, objects become unnecessary weights. But here's the paradox: those who keep less often remember more. Because memory is not a museum, is a living organism. Those who depend on albums, tickets, and souvenirs run the risk of confusing the test with the experience. Those who let go exercise a rare muscle, remembering without needing to hold on. It's like knowing a poem by heart without having the book. The beauty is in the internal repetition, not on the page. And this leads us to an uncomfortable question. What, after all, are we trying to preserve when we accumulate? Is it the past, or the illusion that we can control it? A showbox full of letters is an archive, a mind that only keeps the essentials is a filter. And perhaps true freedom lies in understanding that some things are so much ours that they don't need owners. The art of choosing what stays. There is a fascinating exercise that some cultures practice, at each change of season, discarding something that no longer serves even if it's just a loose button in the drawer. It's not about radical minimalism, it's about ritual. It's saying to yourself, this has already served me. Now you can move on. And in this small gesture, there is a revolution, the acceptance that we are made of layers, not accumulations. Anyone who has ever done an emotional cleanse, the one in which you throw away not only clothes, but also resentment stored in the form of objects, knows, relief does not come from empty space, but from the clarity it brings. Suddenly, you realize that your ex-girlfriend's cracked mug wasn't nostalgia, it was a weight disguised as a memory. That the framed diploma was not pride, but a silent demand, why didn't I go further? And here's the key, letting go is not about throwing away, it's about choosing what stays. A person who keeps just 3 things, a book, a piece of jewelry, a letter, is not poor in memories. It is rich in criteria. Because she understood that life is not made up of what we accumulate, but of what we select to carry. The me of forgetting, and the courage to trust. They say that forgetting is betraying. But what if forgetting sometimes means letting go? The brain is not an HD, it's a garden. Some seeds become trees, others, fertilizer. And that's not failure, it's biological wisdom. Anyone who has ever lost a loved one knows, things don't bring people back. His shirt in the closet is not him, it's a cotton ghost. Her perfume in the drawer is not her, it's a chemical shade. And when we understand this, we realize that saving is not loving, it is postponing saying goodbye. But there is a difference between letting go and erasing. Anyone who doesn't keep photos of the past is not denying that it existed, is saying, I don't need proof to know that this marked me. It's like a love that doesn't need old messages to be real. Some things are so true that they don't need proof. What you would never throw away, and what that says about you. Now, a challenge. Close your eyes and think of any object that you would never discard. It could be an earring, a note, a stone along the way. Ask yourself, what exactly does this object hold for you? Is it security? If I lose this, I lose connection with who I was. Is it identity? Without this, who am I? Is it fear? What if one day I need to prove that this happened? The answer reveals where your wound is. Those who keep love letters may still be learning to trust the present. Those who don't give up diplomas and achievements may be struggling with imposter syndrome. Those who keep childhood objects may need to allow themselves to grow. And there is no judgment in that. Guarding is human. The point is not to throw everything away, but to understand why some things are untouchable. Because, deep down, what we don't throw away is what we still can't digest. The last box. Imagine that tomorrow you have to choose just any box to carry for the rest of your life. What would go into it? A photo. But which one? The wedding one, the graduation one, the trip one? An object. The ring, the grandfather clock, the teddy bear? A paper. The farewell letter, the first check, the note from the sun? Now, the question that hurts: what would be left out? And why? This hypothetical box isn't about what you take. It's about what you leave behind. And the courage to recognize that some things are so precious that they don't need any box, they are already inside you. For reflection and action. 1. 7-day experiment. Choose an emotional object that you have kept for years. Hold it in your hands and ask, if I lost this tomorrow, what would I really lose? If the answer is a part of me, keep it. If it's a memory that's already in me, consider letting go. 2. The final question. If my house caught fire today, what would I save? The answer shows where your heart is. The rest. Maybe it's just weight disguised as memory. And you? What is one object that you would never throw away? And why? Have you ever done a radical emotional cleanse? How did you feel? Do you think you keep things out of love, or out of fear? Leave it here in the comments, and if this text touched any wounds, or alleviated one, share it with those who need to hear it. Because sometimes, we just need permission to let go. Until the next reflection. Yellow heart. And if you want more texts like this, turn on notifications so you don't miss out. We always come back with questions that hurt, but free. Continuation of the text, expansion with depth and new angles. What you keep isn't just an object. It's a version of yourself that you haven't let go of yet. What if I told you that letting go is not about losing, but about reclaiming space for who you are now? Not the person who was hurt, not the one who needed to prove something, not the one who clung to memories like buoys on a shipwreck. To you today. The one who already knows that memory is not a museum, it is fuel. But why, then, does it hurt so much to open your hand? Science has an answer, and it's not just ethically, it is biological. Our brain associates objects with emotions with the same intensity that it associates smells with memories. That torn t-shirt from the first show? For your limbic system, it is the adrenaline of those 18 years, it is the sweat mixed with loud music, it is the version of you that still believed that life was just the beginning. Throwing it away is not discarding cloth, it is mourning. And mourning, we know, has no expiration date. So how do you do this without feeling like a traitor to yourself? The 3-box method, or how to let go without getting lost. 1. The I was box. Keep just one object per version of you that no longer exists. X. The bracelet of the first love, the naive one, the diploma, the ambitious one, the letter from the grandmother, the child. Rule: no full boxes. If it doesn't fit in one hand, it's not a memory, it's attachment disguised as nostalgia. Why it works: your brain needs physical anchors to process transitions. But in a homeopathic dose. 2. The I am box. Place objects here that represent who you are today. X. The recipe book you finally filled out, the t-shirt from the race you finished, the note you wrote to yourself the day you overcame something. Challenge: if this box is empty, ask, what am I keeping from the past that doesn't let me create the present? 3. The I let go box. Farewell ritual. Before discarding, hold the object, thank it out loud, thank you for reminding me that I survived, and take a photo. Science behind. Studies show that photographing objects before releasing them reduces loss anxiety by 40%. Your memory doesn't need things, it needs meaning. Key phrase to repeat: this is already in me. I don't need to carry the weight either. The safe memory trap, or why we keep so much crap. Our brain hates uncertainty. And objects are tangible evidence that something, even if painful, happened. That resignation letter? It's the certainty that you were brave enough to leave. The ex's shirt? Proof that you loved, and are therefore capable of loving again. The problem is not saving. It's confusing memory with identity. Radical experiment, for the brave. Pick up 3 objects that you can't throw away. Put them in a bag and store in the closet for 3 months. If in 90 days you haven't missed them even once, it's because they were already dead to you. You just didn't have the courage to bury it. What are we really saving? The list nobody makes. Write it down on paper. 1. Objects that represent I failed, e.g. the dress that didn't fit, the abandoned project. 2. Objects that represent I deserved more, e.g. expensive gifts from people who hurt you, diplomas from courses you hated. 3. Objects that represent I'm not enough, e.g. clothes from when I was thinner, books I started and didn't finish. Now ask, if I were the best version of myself, what would that person keep? And what would they throw away without blinking? Hint, the answer isn't nothing. It's just what makes you smile today. Beyond objects, they're invisible things that we also need to let go. Grudges in the form of a souvenir, that glass they broke at your party. The song that was playing when you received the bad news. Old identities, the folder with your childhood drawings, you are no longer the frustrated artist, you are the adult who chose another path. Futures that didn't come, the empty suitcase, that dream of living abroad, the planning notebooks from 5 years ago. Exercise. Write a letter to each of these material ghosts. X. Dear empty suitcase, you represent the guilt of not going. But I chose to stay. And that's courage too. Thank you for reminding me that I have choices. Burn. Bury. Tear it up. Give yourself permission to close cycles. The paradox of detachment, why letting go makes us richer. Neuroscience research shows that the brain processes the loss of emotional objects in the same way as the loss of money. In other words, throwing away hurts because, for your reward system, it's like throwing 100 Brazilian reals bills in the trash. But here's the secret, the space you free up is not empty. It's potential. Physical space equals energy for new memories. Mental space equals clarity for new dreams. Emotional space equals capacity for new loves, for people, projects, for yourself. Phrase to stick on the mirror. Everything I need, I already have. The rest is just weight training my strength. For reflection and radical action. 1. The fire test, version 2.0. Imagine that you can save only 5 objects from a fire. What would they be? Now ask, what do these 5 objects have in common? If the answer is they define me, you are on the right track. If it's they remind me of who I was, it's time to rethink. 2. The question that hurts, but frees. If I died tomorrow, which objects of mine would make my loved ones smile? And which would make them carry a burden? Action. Donate the burdens while you are still alive. Leave as a legacy only what brings joy. 3. The 30-day challenge. Every day, let go of one thing, physical or emotional. It could be crumpled paper, resentment, an outdated self-image. Rule. Write down how you feel afterwards. On the 30th, you will have a diary of your own freedom. And you? The questions nobody asks, but should. What object do you keep that is actually a trophy of pain? X. The gift from the ex who cheated on you, the medal from the competition that made you sick. What would you keep if you knew no one would ever see it? The answer reveals your most authentic self. If you could erase a memory linked to an object, what would it be? And why haven't you released this object yet? What is the most worthless thing you would never throw away? That says everything about what you really value. Leave it here in the comments or, if you prefer, write it on paper and burn it. Sometimes catharsis doesn't need an audience. For those who need permission. If you're reading this and feeling your chest tighten, know one thing. You are not obliged to keep anything. No photos, no letters, no clothes, no versions of you that no longer fit. Memory is not the same as nostalgia. You can remember without suffering. Letting go is not betraying the past. It's honoring the present. And if you released one thing today, just one, it's already more than yesterday. Celebrate it. Until the next reflection that hurts, but heals. Yellow Heart. And if this text moved you, save it to your favorites and come back whenever you need courage. Or share it with those who also need this permission. Sometimes, we just need to know that we're not alone in this. P.S. If you've made it this far, Take a deep breath. Now ask, what can I release today that will make me sleep easier tomorrow? Do it. Not tomorrow. Now. I give you permission.